this is future editing Ariana coming to you to kind of narrate this video. We are going to be doing a little bit of a comparison, if you will. As you guys know, if you've watched our videos, Sam and I rate every single book that we read, and we try to give as fair a rating as possible. I was very curious to see if our ratings go along with the general consensus of books, if you will. So I was trying to think of what website, app situation most people go to when they are looking into books or they want to put their rating somewhere. And of course, you know exactly what I'm going to say. It is Goodreads, of course. So we decided that for this video, we are going to be comparing what we rate a book with what the Goodreads rating is. Now, for the entire video, we did not know what the rating was before reading the book. We were trying to keep it completely honest. I'm very excited for you guys to see how we did. So, onto the video. This is the book that we're reading, and I'm really excited about it because if you haven't watched the June TBR, where we had that big old haul.
Oh yeah, this is part of that haul.
This is a part of that haul. But we're super excited about it because one, it's an interesting premise, but two, we've never read anything by this author, and three, it was only $3.
Half price.
Only $3 stinking when it normally is $17. So that's a slay. But I am pretty sad because there was a stupid $3 off or $3.
Yeah, the Super Buy sticker.
Yeah, the Super Buy $3 cost sticker, and it literally demolished the front of this, so that's lame.
Both of them. Both copies.
And I literally, like, I got a hairdryer out to try and get the sticker off, and it still wouldn't let me get it off without causing mass damage.
You tried everything.
That's annoying. And I normally pride myself on being the kind of person that can get a sticker off in one go. That just shows that they use the dumbest sticker in the entire world. You've never met the other wives, none of you know each other, and because of this unconventional arrangement, you can see your husband only one day a week. But you love him so much you don't care. Or at least that's what you've told yourself. But one day, while you're doing laundry, you find a scrap of paper in his pocket, an appointment reminder for a woman named Hannah, and you just know it's another of the wives. You thought you were fine with your arrangement, but you can't help yourself. You track her down, and under false pretenses, you strike up a friendship. Hannah has no idea who you really are. Then Hannah starts showing up to your coffee dates with telltale bruises, and you realize she's being abused by her husband, who of course is also your husband. But you've never known him to be violent ever. Who exactly is your husband, and how far would you be willing to go to find out? And who is his mysterious third wife?
That's crazy.
That is so crazy. I'm very curious to see what we rate this. We're gonna start reading. Hi kids, it's a different day. We're in the same spot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
We can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know.
3.5.
It was going so strong.
It was going so strong that I was like, definitely a 4. It's been only 24 hours. That's why we haven't really been updating that much, because I read like over 100 pages in my breaks, like at work.
And she was going.
I was just blowing through it, and then Sam blew through it to catch up. When we got back from work, Sam caught up to me while I was cooking, and so we really were just reading so much. And so it was good until it just kind of fell flat.
Yes.
And so obviously the point of this video is to see what it's rated on Goodreads. All right, I'm back. So now it's time to give a little debrief on our rating of The Wives by Tarryn Fisher. Now, we went into this book really obsessed with it. We read it relatively fast, like within 24 hours. We really went into it thinking that it was going to be something completely different than it ended up being. The beginning of the book, there were so many quotes and so many comments about the way that women feel in the stereotypical wife role when they are with a man, and I found that really interesting, and I was eating it up, really. Like, I was eating it up because there were so many comments about how the main character had put away all of her personal things, all the things that she loved most in the world. Her entire personality basically had completely changed to be all around her husband, what her husband wanted, what her husband needed, what would make him happy. She was changing parts of herself, you know, like not asking questions that she wanted to ask, not liking the things she liked, trying so hard to please him in every aspect of her day-to-day, that she was becoming a shell of herself. And so we went into it thinking that it was a commentary about the traditional stereotypical role of wife, and then halfway it took a turn. And again, I'm not going to try to spoil anything. I mean, if you want to read the book, go for it. Honestly, there were just a couple things that started to really bother us, and a couple things I wanted to share in terms of like triggers. So if you are somebody that is triggered by talk of mental health, certain conditions in regarding mental health, psych wards, second portion of this book strongly strongly talks about that, and so don't trigger you in any kind of way. I really don't recommend reading this book. We really didn't like the ending. Again, everyone has the ability to like or dislike an ending or whatever, but it wasn't even necessarily that we didn't like the ending because it wasn't what we thought. It was, the ending was the kind of ending that made you feel like the entire book was pointless. Now for the part where we go and we look up exactly what Goodreads rated it. So I would not be surprised if it got a little bit higher of a rating than we gave it. So The Wives got a 3.65. Pretty spot on. I mean, we don't get any more specific than that 0.5 range. So this is as close as we were going to possibly be able to get. Now, the next book that you're going to be seeing is us reading Reckless. And I was so in, you know, you'll see within how I rated this book. But if you don't know what Reckless is the second book in the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. We have been waiting for months and months and months. This has been on my calendar, literally written down in my anticipated reads section of my Notion because we have been dying for this book release. And so without further ado, Reckless. You guys, I went to get Reckless and I was like driving by myself because Sam couldn't come with me, and I'm going by myself and I'm in the parking lot and someone almost hits the car, and that was rude. I'm driving along. They slam on their brakes. Anyways, I already knew that they were rude. And then they go, turn it up. They just, my car. So that's my story. Yeah. So the only thing I got from going to go get Reckless was this picture. Anyways, if you see that we're in a spot that we normally aren't, it's because we are dog sitting, and so we're in a house that we normally aren't in. But if the angles and stuff are weird during this video or during the next little bit of videos, it's because I'm trying not to show anything really of their house. Yeah, I'm not trying to like show their family photos and stuff like that. You know, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm not gonna give like a house tour. So I'm trying to show like as little as possible. Like obviously this is just our background, and if you've watched our videos before, you've seen them because we dog sit for them every once in a while. So I'm gonna cool off because clearly I'm still salty, and then we'll read Reckless and we'll get to experience that book together. Now I'm curious to see, because obviously this is all about ratings.
Open the door upstairs.
I hope the camera picked up that sound. The door just opened and we're alone, but it's because the dog just pushed the door open. That scared me. Obviously this video is about ratings, and so I'm curious because this book literally just came out today, and so I don't know what the ratings are going to be, like if the ratings are going to be as accurate, because obviously the book hasn't been out for long enough to get hundreds and thousands of ratings. I'll talk to you when we're in the mood to be reckless. Hi silly sillies. It's next morning and I did not sleep that well last night, and so I look a little crazy, but yesterday we got decently far in. I'm 125 pages in now, and it's just sad. It's just sad. The book is not sad. I just feel like the impending doom is near. You know what I mean? Like, I know that after this ends, I'm not gonna get more of the story for a while. And she released like when it's coming out, and I think it's April of 25. That feels right. It's just more waiting. You know what I mean? And so I want to not rush through it, but then I also want to know the story already, and I have so many other books I need to get to, and so I want to just read at like the normal pace, but then I'm feeling sad because it's gonna be over. I'm really enjoying it. We've been trying to read so many other kinds of books to try to like give my channel, because the channel's so new, you know, we were trying to give the channel a good base, you know, like we read a lot of mystery, we read romance, and like we tried to have some thrillers in there, and we tried to change it up so that it wasn't just romantasy over and over and over. So I've been missing my romantasy, and even though this is definitely the younger version of the romantasy I normally read, we normally read stuff like Throne of the Fallen, which was definitely very adult. I'm gonna keep reading without getting too far ahead of Sam, because while we're staying here, I am the one that's technically getting paid to do this, and so I'm not working, and so Sam is continuing to work, you know, like Sam is still going to work while I'm staying here throughout the day, and so obviously I have way more time to work on my YouTube stuff, which is great, but I have to try to control myself so that I don't get too far ahead, because I will. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know when you're reading a little romance scene, and they just say the right thing. Nothing beats when words on a page, when literal made up moments, fake, have me like and they're not doing anything crazy. This isn't some steamy scene. These aren't real people. Once you feel like you've gotten to know a character and you can like picture them and you can guess what they're gonna say or like how they'd say something or whatever, like once you've made them like real in your mind, the words just hit. They just hit. And Mr. Kai boy in here, his little flirts, they're so good. It's the confidence. It's like a little bit of confidence that he gives. The way that this girl, because Peyton in this book, if you haven't read it, she's like a super strong female lead, you know, like she's constantly kicking butt and she means business and blah blah, and he's also like that, and so they're always butting heads because of that. It's just the way that he can talk, and then she's like you know, because she's like a strong independent woman, and like he'll make a little thing and she's like which in turn makes me go, you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep blushing at a relationship that doesn't exist, with people that don't exist, in a world that doesn't exist, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Carry on. Something always has to ruin it. Okay. This series reminds me of the way I felt when I was younger reading like The Hunger Games for the first time, or like Divergent for the first time. In the video where I read Shatter Me, I was talking about how I don't like dystopian books, and that's not the vibe I'm talking about necessarily. It's not about like the genre, it's more just about the feeling of falling in love with a series for the first time and committing to reading more than just one book. A series takes so much commitment. You have to fall for every single book over and over and over. It's a bigger deal than just reading a bunch of standalone books, because you have to commit to however many stories they may or may not be, and every book you take a risk of it not being that good, you know? And so like continuing to take that risk, especially when you start to have expectations, or you know, the story may start to get old or whatever the case may be, feeling that pull of like, I need this story to keep going, I can't let this story be over yet, I have to read more, all that comes along with really falling for a series is so magical. I wouldn't say it's like the best series I've ever read or anything like that. I have quickly grown attached to these characters, which writing can be award-winning, profound, whatever, and it still cannot have the ability to make you fall in love with characters. If something happens to these characters, I will genuinely be sad about it, which is something that even if the writer isn't necessarily coming up with like, again, like a masterpiece in terms of the writing, getting one person, let alone thousands and hundreds of thousands and whatever, however many people like this author or whatever many authors reach, getting that many people to fall for a character, I don't know. I'm getting profound. I'm not trying to make this deep. What I'm trying to say is that this book is this series is the type of series, if you let it remind you why it's fun to read something that's just a good experience. Like, read it just for the experience, not read it because it's gonna make you smarter, not read it because of whatever other reason. Just reading it to enjoy the story, enjoy the characters, be a part of the movement, you know? Obviously, yeah, sometimes it's annoying to go along with something that's so viral, you know, and like this isn't as bad as Fourth Wing or Sarah J Maas stuff or anything like that, but it's definitely popular, and so sometimes it could be a lot and like you don't want to get spoilers or whatever the case may be, but reading something at the same time as so many other people and everyone being excited, that is something that's so cool to me. When I went to get this at Barnes, obviously, other than the fact that I almost got hit in the parking lot, the fact that there was a stack, there was like stacks and stacks of them because of how many they were expecting to sell. That is just so cool to me, that they're expecting that many people to read at this time, because it's only been a day since it's gone out. How many people are reading this right now? That is just so cool. What am I even talking about? Maybe I'll read one more chapter. Maybe I'll just read one more chapter. One more chapter. Sam, I know you're watching this. I am not reading this book for you. You guys. You sillies. Do you see that? 55? That's outrageous. 55 of you? This channel has quickly become proof that this is what I meant to do. Watching something happen that you thought about and daydreamed about for as long as you can remember start to happen is just so insane. I'm not saying I'm famous, but like to see people subscribe, to see people interact with my stuff, to get comments or messages from people saying that they enjoy my content and that they believe in me, people I've never met before, to do a giveaway and people actually respond to it. The fact that I'm doing it, it could literally make me cry. Like, I feel so genuinely grateful. And even if this turns out being nothing, and even if I'm literally getting emotional. Even if I don't get monetized and this doesn't become a big thing, like just the feeling of this little tiny baby little community that I've started that feels so nice and safe and wholesome, something that has brought me and my significant other closer, because, you know, obviously we're making a lot of this content together. Even though this is like my channel, obviously I read a lot of the books with her. Well, I read all the books with her, and she's in majority of the videos. And so working on this with her and feeling her support, and I'm very grateful. Before I get too emotional, reading is so good. Reading is so good. Reading is so good. Nothing beats reading. Nothing. The book is gonna end. The book is gonna end. And I'm not ready. Also, it's been a couple days that I've been recording this, and I know I look the same in every clip, but it's because, like I said, we're not home, and this is the only hoodie that I brought. So if it looks like I'm wearing the same outfit this entire time, just know I am showering. I'm gonna say a quote. It's not a spoiler. I think I would fall on my sword if it meant you mourned me. I think I would fall on my sword if it meant you mourned me. It might be a 5-star. Like, this book has had me literally in a chokehold the entire time I'm reading it. I think this is a 5-star book for me. And even if it's not, even if it ends up being a 4.5, this is definitely a 5-star series. The way that it's making me feel, I don't care. I don't care if you don't understand the hype, okay? I don't care. This is literally single-handedly rekindling my inner love for reading. The way that I feel about this book is the way that I felt as a 6th grader walking into the school library, checking out the max amount of books that I could, and like reading all night long. Having to have my mom literally pry a book out of my hands to get me to go to bed. I don't know if it's the young adult aspect of it. It just transcends me in like the best way. Like Shadow Me reminded me being younger in like a bad way, like made me feel like I'm old now, but this is quite literally just like picking me up, dropping me back, and as if I'm living it all over again. I just read that line again. And again, if you read this and you're like, meh, 3. I'm sorry for your loss, because you missed out on a good one. But like, that's how people feel about books I don't like, you know? And like, that's why reading is amazing. Because what your mind does with the words on this page is art. There's nothing other than that. It is straight Picasso, what your mind can do with this set of words. I finished. If you've read that book, you know. You know. You know. You know what I read. You know what I know. Bye. We rated Reckless a 5 stars. We absolutely ate this book up in many, many ways. I want to specifically highlight something I've seen a lot on the internet since Reckless has come out. A lot of people went into this book thinking that it was going to be a lot more plot driven than it was supposed to be. When we are reading books and when we're going into books, especially books that we have been waiting a really long time for, we kind of like to go into it knowing the point of it, if that makes sense. So the author of the Powerless trilogy, Lauren Roberts, had made some comments that kind of swayed the way that we went into thinking about this book, and hearing what other people were saying. The book wasn't supposed to be like Powerless. So this book is supposed to be the in-between. Again, this is the Powerless trilogy, so there are 3 books. You have Powerless, Reckless, and the next one is going to be Fearless, I believe. But this book was supposed to be a filler, easy, breath of fresh air, take a breather before we get thrown into the next book. So it was supposed to be something that was easy, something that you didn't have to think too much about, and was more character driven than plot driven, kind of getting us to the point that the third book needs to be. I think people went into it thinking that we were just jumping to the third book, but we already had the thought in mind. You know, if you read the ACOTAR series, the Court of Frost and Starlight, the little thin blue book, that is the same kind of concept as this book was supposed to be. We went into it thinking like almost as if it was just a regular romance and not necessarily supposed to be fantasy. I mean, obviously there were hints of fantasy, but it was definitely different. And so if you really like Powerless and you want it to be like that, you weren't gonna rate it the same. And so I think it helped that we didn't feel as strongly about Powerless as we did about Reckless. You know, we really felt for the characters, but how close Powerless was to Hunger Games made it harder for me to be obsessed with. But 4.24 is what it got. Oh, there are wiener dogs outside. It got rated a 4.24, which is pretty high. I mean, obviously it could have been rated higher, but how many people are reading it and how new it is? I mean, it's been less than a month still. Only been like a week or two. Yeah, it's only been a little over a week since it's been dropped. So again, take it with what you will. 5-star for me. And now, the last book that we read was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. We've gotten really back into romance, and we've really wanted to find another romance author that we could be really obsessed with, because we've been eating up Abby Jimenez, and I've always loved Christina Lauren, and so we're trying to find another one of those kinds of authors that just like, you know? So this is how we felt about Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Morning, sillies. I'm 116 pages in. Knox, the main male character, is supposed to like be the grumpy guy that's helping, and he doesn't even want to. So far, it doesn't make any sense on why he's helping her. They're argued from the very second they met each other, and he's always like, oh, I don't like her. Oh, she's annoying. But he keeps helping her, and he already has gotten into that. Like literally, in, like the first 20 pages, he was already like, back off, she's mine. Like it happened so fast, where he's like fighting over her and stuff like that, that it just seems, I don't know. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to be like hater.com, because I really do have like a newfound interest in romance. So I'm gonna keep reading and see how far we can get. I've fallen for it. I know. I said that it was just meh, and I didn't understand the hype, which I still don't think this is gonna be anything groundbreaking. I'm not saying that this is like a 5-star book, but the romance is getting to me, okay? I love when a guy starts acting down bad. Like nothing is better than when the guy falls first. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. Do I think that the writing is amazing? No. Are there things that are kind of starting to bother me a little bit? Maybe. But at the end of the day, it's still a romance. I think I'm always gonna be a sucker for some good banter, and their back and forth is getting amusing. So that's making me laugh a little bit. Exact quote. You're telling me he's a grumpy, overprotective hottie next door, and you're not going to sleep with him? How wasteful. I think we've officially gotten to the third act nonsense. I mean, I don't know exactly because I haven't read it yet, but it feels as though it's coming. And I have a feeling I know how it's gonna end. And I don't know. I think the part about romance that bothers me is when we go into the typical, they know that they should be together, but they're both like, no, it won't work, it won't, but even though it is, it won't. Like, they just, you know what I'm talking about. I was enjoying my little romance book, and it was starting to bother me, and I wanted it to be fun still, but it's starting to get to the point where I'm like, okay, please, when is this gonna be over? It's really happening. He's being dumb, she's being dumb, they're being dumb. Ugh. Ugh. So exhausting. I would have been perfectly fine if it ended a chapter earlier. It could have ended a chapter earlier. I wouldn't have bat not one singular eyelash at it. I would have been fine. I would have been happy. I would have had my little dose of romance, and it would have been peachy keen. But no. They had to throw in this third act crap, third act drama. For what? Not for me, that's for sure. I'm the reader. I'm supposed to enjoy this experience. Well, I'm not. Like, what the heck? What is the point of this? It doesn't make me want to read the story more. It makes me so irritated. Of course I'm going to read it though. But like, all you did was add this for what? For what? You could have ended it here and I would have been happy. I would have bought the next book and I wouldn't have cared and I would have been on my way. But no, you had to throw in this randomness now. I'm going to have to read all the way to here and I know that you're going to get back together here. You know that this is just nonsense and they're going to get back together. Do I know that for sure? No. But like, come on. We know. But I'm still gonna buy the next book regardless. It was okay. You know, okay. it was okay. You know, we gave this book a 3.5 and I think that it really could have been so much better if we didn't have so much text. If we had had the book cut by like a third, I really think this book could have been way better. I think I could have rated it maybe a 4, honestly, if it had been cut more. It's just, there was so much more book than there needed to be, and the writing wasn't complicated enough, or there wasn't enough going on for me to feel like it was warranted for the book to be that long. And so by the time that I had gotten like really excited about everything, there was so much book left that I started to dwindle back down in the way I felt about the book. A couple things that I didn't love. I'm the type of person that I really want to read something where you're showing me why the character is this way. I don't want to be told over and over and over that he's a grumpy guy. Like, I don't need to hear that because I could guess that by myself. Like, I want you to show me why he's grumpy. I want you to show me how he's grumpy, more than just like, and then he was yelling at her. And then he yelled at her again. And then he was like, oh, get out of here. You know, like, just, I want it to be more than that. I want to know why he's grumpy. Like, who hurt him? That's what I want to know, is who hurt him. Because then it's even harder to fall for the character. I mean, I did love certain aspects of their romance just because the banter was good. So again, we gave this book a 3.5 and it got a 4.16. We did pretty good. Like, it wasn't like we rated something at 5 stars and it got like a 2. You know, like, we did pretty in the realm of the way that you could rate something. I mean, again, rating is so personal, and like I've said before, what your mind does with a chunk of words. I said this when we were reading Reckless, but I think I made it seem more like I was talking about just the Reckless book. But when you are reading any kind of book, what your mind is able to do with those words is just something that I could never even explain. It's something that is so magical and so lovely, you know? Like, it's honestly one of the coolest things that our brain could do is craft something as magical as an entire world with a stack of paper, you know? Like, that is something that is just so cool and like beyond me being able to rate something, you know? So again, if you loved or hated a book that we felt opposite of, or maybe you agree with everything that we said and you feel like our taste is very similar, I still will always say you should go into every book with as much of a clear mind as you can. I mean, obviously, if you're watching our videos, you're gonna get a little bit of a hint of what we thought if you haven't read the book yet already. But again, go into the book with whatever you think the book is meant for. I'm glad that our ratings were pretty similar, just from my own peace of mind that we're not ruining books for you that everyone else loved. But that is the end of this video. I appreciate you guys for watching. I love each and every one of you with literally every cell in my body. Every cell in my body. I am so obsessed with every single one of you, even though I know basically none of you. But I am just so excited that we have this little thing going. I hope it continues. As of right now, I'm at 62 subscribers. I'm really excited that that's happening. I hope you stick around. I know it's gonna be fun because we have a lot of ideas planned, and that's the end. It's time to go, my silly sillies. Bye!